After separating from her husband Daniel, Sarah begins experiencing terrifying hauntings in her new apartment. When she visits her old home, she discovers Daniel's corpse, but the body vanishes before police arrive. Haunted by his ghost, she believes she's finally freed herself after burning the divorce papers. But in a shocking twist, she wakes up to find herself dead, trapped with Daniel forever, their souls bound in death by the vow, "Till death do us part." The storm outside matched the tension in the room. Sarah sat across from her husband, Daniel, in the dimly lit living room. The marriage counselor's words still echoed in her head, "Maybe it's time to consider separation." Daniel's face was pale, his eyes empty. "So, this is it?" he whispered. Sarah nodded, her voice trembling. "I can't do this anymore. The shouting, the sleepless nights, I don't even recognize us." He laughed bitterly. "You think you'll be happier alone? I just want peace, Daniel. That's all." That night, Sarah packed a few things and left their house, the one they bought together 10 years ago, while thunder cracked across the sky. She didn't look back. But as she drove away, her phone buzzed. Message from Daniel: "You can't just walk away, Sarah. You promised forever." She sighed and threw the phone aside, not noticing the flicker of something, or someone, in the back seat of her car through the rain-smeared mirror. A week later, Sarah moved into a small apartment near the edge of town. It was quiet, simple, and, most importantly, hers. The first few nights were calm. She slept deeply for the first time in months. But soon, small things began to happen. Her coffee mug would move from the table to the counter. Footsteps echoed in the hall at 3 a.m. and sometimes, she heard Daniel's voice, soft, pleading, whispering her name. She told herself it was stress. Divorce was messy, emotional. Maybe she just missed him in some twisted way. Then came the phone calls. Always around midnight. Always from an unknown number. And always the same rasping voice saying the same thing: "You can't just leave me, Sarah." One night, she yelled into the phone, "Daniel, stop calling me. I filed the papers." But the voice on the other end wasn't Daniel's. It was low, distorted, almost inhuman. He didn't sign them. Unable to sleep, Sarah decided to visit the old house the next day. She wanted closure, one final confrontation. When she arrived, she noticed the curtains drawn and the front door slightly open. Inside, the house was dark and smelled of rot. "Daniel," she called softly. No answer. She stepped into the living room and froze. On the wall, written in what looked like dried blood, were the words, "Till death do us part." Her heart raced. She backed away toward the kitchen, and nearly screamed. Daniel was sitting at the table, or at least, what was left of him. His body was pale, stiff, his eyes wide open in terror. His throat was slit from ear to ear. Sarah's knees gave out. Her mind screamed no, but his body began to move. Slowly, jerkingly. The dead Daniel turned his head toward her and smiled. "Now you can't leave, Sarah." She ran from the house, her cries swallowed by the wind. Sarah called the police, but when they searched the house, there was nothing. No blood, no body, no writing on the walls. "Are you sure you saw him?" the officer asked. Sarah's voice trembled. "I know what I saw." They exchanged skeptical looks and left her with a warning to get some rest. But there was no rest. That night, Daniel's voice returned, not from her phone, but from inside her apartment, from the mirror, from the walls, from inside her head. "Till death do us part." Sometimes she would wake up to find muddy footprints leading from her bedroom door to her bed. Sometimes, she'd catch a glimpse of him in the reflection, his slit throat grinning back at her. In desperation, she burned the divorce papers and screamed, "Leave me alone." The lights flickered, and then everything went silent. For the first time in weeks, she slept peacefully. When Sarah awoke, sunlight poured through her window. Everything was quiet. Too quiet. She stretched, relieved, until she noticed the wedding ring back on her finger. Her heart dropped. She had thrown it away days ago. There was movement in the corner of the room. Daniel sat in the armchair, smiling. "Good morning, sweetheart." She backed away, shaking. "No, you're dead. I saw." He stood up, his skin pale and waxy, but his voice calm. "You shouldn't have left me, Sarah. You made a vow." Tears streamed down her face. "What do you want?" He tilted his head. "You already gave it to me." She turned toward the mirror, and screamed. Her reflection wasn't her own. It was dead Sarah, throat slit like Daniel's. The walls began to rot, the air filled with the smell of decay. She wasn't in her apartment anymore. She was in the old house, sitting next to Daniel's corpse. Outside, police found the house abandoned again, but 2 new names were now etched on the wall in dried blood: Daniel and Sarah Walker, together forever.